Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
We've all known for a long time that the web can be a very dark place, particularly when it comes to images of child abuse. But even so, what police in Scotland have turned up in an investigation that has only lasted 6 weeks so far is profoundly shocking. They found a frankly astonishing number of indecent images and have managed to identify hundreds of child victims. 77 people have been charged and they haven't even finished their operation yet, or by the sounds of it, anything like it. They say there is still much more to find.
Police in Scotland.
OK, that didn't work quite as we expected, but as we've said, this is a very disturbing story and Peter Smith is the reporter on it. So let us go to him in Glasgow tonight. Peter, we've given people the essence of this story so far. Really rather a short police investigation, and yet it's thrown up a very, very disturbing set of statistics. How much longer do you think it's going to go on, and what direction will it take?
Well, as you say, Tom, this has only been 6 weeks' work from Police Scotland. In one case, they found 10 million images of child abuse on just one computer. It's staggering what they've found, and that's just here in Scotland. This, of course, hasn't yet looked at the case across the UK. Of course, police forces across the country will now be looking at what Police Scotland have done, because this is the first crackdown from a national police agency, and they will be wanting to know where it can go from here, because obviously the internet has moved. Paedophiles are moving with technology. They're moving into the dark web, an area of the internet that we can't keep tabs on, and it's very difficult for police to try and follow what's happening. But in this case, they have done, and they've found something that is truly shocking.
Police in Scotland have just uncovered paedophile networks on a staggering scale. 30 million indecent images of children were found on computers across the country, with over 500 potential victims, all children, some just 3 years old. And to date, it's led to almost 80 individuals being charged.
The scale of the problem is growing, the use of technology around the world and the ability of parts of the developing world to use broadband technology to abuse children is leading us towards live streaming of abuse, which is particularly horrific, and people in this country paying to see that and in fact on occasions to direct that.
This in Scotland was the first national crackdown focusing on online child abuse. Internet safety experts say this operation shows how paedophiles are moving with technology.
What I would say though is that increasingly tools, forensic tools and analytical tools are being developed to assist the police in investigations which 5 to 10 years ago would have been almost impossible to actually get some of these results in such a short period of time.
Paedophiles were found in areas of the internet that allow them to get closer to their victims. They've been targeting children playing online computer games and initiating contact in social media apps where they can chat and send pictures. In response, children's charities have called for immediate action.
Social media could be doing more to keep children safe, to make it easier for images to be removed, to help investigations where individuals are using their platforms to access children. And we're even asking that it might be time for a new regulator with powers of sanctions.
After uncovering such large-scale online abuse, police stress they want parents alert, not alarmed. It's not about keeping children offline altogether. It's about teaching them to question who's really holding the controls at the other end.
I was speaking to about a children's charity earlier. I was asking them, what can parents do? There are parental controls that they can look into for online, but it's also, this is an opportunity for them to talk to their children about upskilling when it comes to the internet, being more cautious about what they're doing and being aware of the threats that exist out in the world.
Well, Peter, the investigation is ongoing, so we may come back to it, but for now, thank you very much indeed.
An investigation by Police Scotland has revealed a huge level of abuse of children from as young as 3 up to teenagers. Tens of millions of images of children being sexually abused have been found over just 6 weeks. More than 500 children have been identified as victims or potential victims of online sexual abuse. The massive operation has led to 77 arrests, with officers saying it will take 4 full-time officers 6 months to go through all the material. Our Scotland correspondent Steve Godden has more.
It is the sinister side of the online world. This summer, Scottish police concentrated their efforts on tackling the sexual abuse of children. 6 weeks that revealed the scale of a growing problem. Codenamed Operation Latisse, detectives identified more than 500 child victims. They recovered more than 30 million images of children as young as 3 being abused. On one computer alone, 10 million pictures and videos were discovered.
These individuals want to be wherever children are. So they're using websites, forums, chat rooms that children use. These men predominantly are using the profiles of children, pretending to be children effectively, to communicate with younger children, to groom them online, to offend against them.
In this crime lab, the grim task of unpicking a computer's dark secrets. In the worst case, it'll take a team of 4 officers 6 months to simply view the material.
Behind every image is a crime scene. It's a child who has been subject to abuse, and every time that image is shared, that child has been re-victimised, and we really need to make sure that both we tackle where crimes have been committed, but we also prevent this from happening in the first place.
Young people are spending more and more time online. For parents at this gaming festival in Glasgow, it's a difficult balancing act.
My daughter is 6, so she's really young just now. But when she gets to that age, who knows where social networking is going to be online? You know, the internet's not going to go away anymore now, and it's potentially just going to become more of a safety issue.
Anybody can make up stories. They can say they're a different age. They could kid on that they're a child. If you don't hear their voice, if they're just typing, then you don't know anything about them.
You know, you need to constantly check and constantly monitor what your kids are doing, or something, you know, it will take something rotten to happen for you to figure that out.
Reputation, your safety and your responsibility.
While the enforcement continues, so too do efforts to warn children about potential dangers online. Those catching the abusers say prevention is their most powerful tool.
Well, let's talk to Stephen, who's in Glasgow now. Stephen, the number of children revealed at risk from this police investigation is horrifying, but this is what police found after just 6 weeks. Is it the tip of the iceberg?
Well, police are always working in this area, but for 6 weeks during the summer, they took the decision to target their resources on tackling online child sexual abuse. They did so because they wanted to shine a light on the problem, to understand the scale of it. And what they found, their starting point was that the more that they looked, the more they find. Certainly the figures here seem to bear that out. The numbers are stark. You heard in the piece there, 30 million images of abused children, more than 500 victims. Now, the majority of those victims are from Scotland, but when they're talking about this problem, police describe it as a national threat that is global in nature. Also, they say there is no stereotypical perpetrator. The ages of those that have been arrested range from 14 to 80. So, and also they're looking to keep on top of the new technology. That is a constant challenge for them as they look to tackle this growing problem.
Steve Godden in Glasgow, thank you.
Police in Scotland have seized more than 30 million indecent images in a child sex abuse investigation. More than 500 children have been identified as potential victims, and 77 people have been arrested and are now facing charges. One adult suspect was found to be communicating with more than 110 children and young people. Police are warning parents to be alert but not alarmed. Harry Smith has this report.
In just 6 weeks of the police operation, they recovered more than 30 million indecent images. It's not clear where the abuse took place, but detectives believe some of it originated in Scotland. Some will be traced worldwide. More than 500 computers and other devices were seized. It'll take a team of detectives months to examine all they contain.
I think that we're confident our ability to understand how children are being abused in Scotland is constantly growing. The efforts, the concerted efforts that we and our partners are making to tackle this problem is having an impact. It's starting to demonstrate to people that commit these crimes that you'll be caught. And it's starting to get through to people that you need to keep yourself safe online.
The operation identified 523 potential child victims. It led to 122 children being referred to child protection agencies. 77 suspects were arrested, and so far 390 charges have been brought.
We need the storage data, we need hard drives, we need electronic devices that media can be stored on.
The specialist team now examining the equipment which has been seized have already gathered enough evidence to bring charges including rape, sharing indecent images of children, grooming for sexual activity and possession of firearms and drugs. Many more charges are expected in the weeks and months to come.
Harry Smith there.
I've been getting away with it all